it. I work in cancer.therapeutics. I work at the necropsy end of it, so the end point of life in the in vivo group.
Okay.
I mean, there was a brief hiatus bartending in Australia, but
Oh,
I mean, you got to do you sometimes.
yeah.
So if you were a person, you started reproducing rapidly, then that would be considered fit, right? Like your population would spread everywhere.
That might be a problem. Okay, I am here with Benjamin. We are headed to Burlingame. His parents' house. And I was talking to Benjamin a little bit about what it is that Benjamin does. He's probably going to be a lot better at explaining that than me. This is really interesting, actually. You guys have to listen to this. So, okay. I don't even know where to begin. I'll just maybe let you talk a little bit. Yeah.
Jump straight into it. I work in cancer.therapeutics. It's a pretty entry-level position. It's a research associate position. But I work at the necropsy end of it, so the end point of life in the in vivo group, so an animal study group, which is a pretty messy area, I would say, ethically and also in a dark group joke way, physically messy. But basically what my job is to ensure that a mouse's life is not cut short, but also that a mouse's life is basically that a mouse is not put through undue suffering.
So what happens to the mice? Like where does it start? This is you said cancer therapeutics.
Yeah.
Right?
So all of our mice that we use in studies will be given the same essentially cancer. We'll do it by injecting cells that we have taken from a model of cancer that we consider like a very stable model of cancer.
So you give the mice cancer.
You give the mice cancer first, which is like a terrible way to start a mouse life, but it's the process that we use.
And this is what happens so that we can get good at so we can figure out what therapeutics are going to work.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
So
you don't find mice already with cancer.
No.
You give them the cancer.
In fact, we would say that finding a mouse with cancer and then giving that drugs would tell us a lot less.
Okay, is PETA watching this right now? I feel like PETA would have probably something bad to say
PETA
about it.
would have a lot of bad things to say about this.
But this is...
I'm not going to say who I worked for. There were some car bombings a few years ago in UCLA and other UCs.
But this is what happens, and this is all okay. Yeah, this is all okay. This is part of the research process.
Yeah.
And it's not all pretty.
It's definitely not all pretty.
But I guess the end game is to help to help us, to help the humans, I guess, and animals generally. I mean, I suppose, right? But
down the line, it depends on how therapeutics advance. As far as licensing goes, you have to have such intense and specialized data to get past the FDA, with good reason, because you don't want to pass off a drug that doesn't work on the public, and that exists. Things like Tamiflu basically don't work because they reduce some symptoms like acutely and then just don't actually have much of an effect on flu. But the point is that the FDA is very necessary and they are very rigorous, and so you need to provide a lot of data that is hard to get, and ethically it's definitely a trade-off, and it's not pretty, it's not nice, but it's how we advance.
There are ethics involved, and the FDA controls and puts restrictions on these types of things so that it doesn't get completely out of hand.
So there's a board called IACUC, which I can never remember what it stands for. It's like International Animal Care Use and something.
So these are the standards, and PETA may be upset with it, but we're working within the confines of the rules and regulations that the FDA has set forth.
Vivarium that mouse work or animal work of any kind is done, and we'll have basically a staff that is there to ensure animal welfare is great at all times.
Okay. And so I got to ask you, how did you get into this?
Just from, I've always been interested in cancer. That was just step one. Okay. When I was 17, I got to work at UCLA, actually in a cancer lab, which was an incredible experience. I was basically just like a lab helper, but I got kind of taken under the wing of 3 different PhD candidates who let me assist in various bits of their project, and it's just so interesting. It's almost like it's kind of, if you think of it in terms of fitness on like the survival of the fittest level, right? Your individual cells are becoming more fit than the rest of your individual cells. But the problem is that our bodies don't work by cells being better than other cells. They work by cells working in tandem. So in fact, by increasing their fitness, they're decreasing your overall fitness. And it's almost like evolution in action, showing why mutations aren't always a good thing.
Because their mutations, they start to take over. You get out of balance, I suppose. Your cells get out of balance, maybe. Okay.
They start reproducing rapidly, and so if you were a person, you started reproducing rapidly, then that would be considered fit, right? Like your population would spread everywhere.
That might be a problem,
right?
Yeah,
it definitely would.
Yeah,
that's the idea of fitness, right? In the evolutionary sense.
Although I feel like I could use a couple more of me right now, to be honest.
Gather around a few more stories.
Yeah, somebody to do the other half of the work. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of how you got into it. You've always been interested in cancer, and then
I just studied that in uni, and then
that's what you did. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there was a brief hiatus bartending in Australia, but I mean, you got to do you sometimes.
Okay, Benjamin. Well, that's really cool, man. I don't know. We're about there. I guess we're going to your parents' house. You're looking forward to... It looks kind of like a nice day down here.
Yeah, it actually is really nice.
Looks like it rained a little bit, so...
Yeah. Nice.
Well, thank you very much for doing that.
Well, thanks for the ride.
That was really fascinating. We are here at your mom's house.
Yeah.
So have a great dinner. And, cheers, man.
Have a good evening.